What it do? What it do? What it do, man? I am PThePolitician.
I am Daniel J. Scott.
Mother Scuckin' Scott, man. This is the Don't
Mother-
Stress Success podcast, man. Hold up, y'all. I met a really dope producer that goes by the name of Eskimo. And he sent me a bunch of beats that we could use during our podcast, all right? So I'm going to just have this music playing in the background. Let's get it.
Nice.
Shouts
And
out to Eskimo Cold Beats.
Respect, man. Rest in peace. But I was going to say as well, man. Guys, listening in, watching in. P, before we got on here, said he's got a little swear jar by the side of him. So if you catch him using a curse word, we need you to comment and let us know, because every time he swears, he's going to be putting $1 in the swear jar. Well, let's try break the bank. Let's try break the bank, folks. Call him on that shit. Don't let it slide.
As you can see, I already got a couple dollars in here. You feel what I'm saying?
And that's just since we started chopping her up before this.
Yeah. So I've got my pile of money. You know what I'm saying? I already know it's gonna cost me, man. So cheers. That's what it is, man. But how was your week, man? How you been, brother?
Pretty good, man. We got snowed in. For 3 days. I couldn't go anywhere. I was stuck at my girl's house. For anyone who doesn't know, well, no one knows because I haven't put it out, but she's pregnant at the moment. So I've been stuck in. We don't live together. So, being snowed in with her for 3 days while she's pregnant, hormones all over the place, feelings and emotions all over the place. It was, what have I got to say about that?
Hey, listen, I'm
it's self-explanatory, but it's been a crazy few days. That's all I'm saying.
I take off my hat to you, brother, because I already know I'm 5 kids deep with the same woman, man, and each pregnancy it's been different.
Yeah,
so salute to you, man. Salute to you,
Respect,
man. So my week has been pretty dope, man. I have no complaints about it. Had the opportunity to link up with a cat that I'm really looking forward with doing some business with in the future. So, that's pretty much been the highlight of my week, man. So that's what it is, man. Salute to everybody tuning in, by the way, man. Salute, man.
Big time, man. We just got off the live stream for last week's, and there was even more people tuned in. So salute to everybody. Make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube, because eventually we want to be doing bits over there too. Thank you is so well received. We haven't had a bad word off anybody yet. And of course, we want your suggestions. We want to talk about what you guys are going through, what you guys are thinking. Let us know what's going on so that we can look into that. We can do some learning on that, and we can share our perspective on it and hopefully help you guys out. Or if it's just something cool or something funny or something crazy going on in current events, let us know, because we definitely want to touch on that too.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So we wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. You know what I mean? So the support is real, and we really do appreciate it, man. That's what it is.
No doubt, man.
I want to go ahead and I'm going to just dive straight into our first topic, man. So I've been in and out of my news feeds, Twitter, Facebook, and I keep bumping into this particular artist. Now, for those who do not know, I'm the program director at a radio station. So, I'm always dealing with artists every day, all the time. So all of my news feeds are catered towards musicians. You know what I mean? And there is a particular artist that he's a rapper, goes by the name of Tekashi 6ix9ine. All right. Now, I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, I might be old. You know what I mean? I might really be old and just not understand what it is, right? But I want to show you guys this cat's. I want to show you what he looks like. Boom. This is him right here.
He looks like a pack of Skittles is what he looks like.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it, man. He looks like a pack of Skittles, straight up. And the crazy thing about it is he's out here doing his mother scucking thing. You know what I mean? And what's even more amazing to me is the fact that I've never heard this cat's music before. So the topic of the hour, one of the topics is this new wave of promoting and marketing yourself with an abstract perspective, with what do you call it, shock value? Is that the way to go? Or do you want to compromise who yourself is? Excuse me, let me word this better. I'm trying so hard not to cuss, man. This jaw is calling me right now.
I noticed that little mother scucking. You know what I mean? I noticed that. Nice.
Yeah, man. But so the real question of the hour is, when you're out here promoting yourself, do you want to put yourself out there with the shock value that may be negative for the purpose of getting attention? Because all I ever hear about this dude is negative stuff. I don't hear anything positive that he's doing in the community. I just hear negative stuff, and that negativity seems to be getting him where he's at. So the debate is, all right, is shock value worth compromising the integrity of who you are as a person? So I'm gonna throw this to you, Daniel J. Scott.
Well, I think it stems from this. All of the rappers that we hear about the most, so we're talking the Takeshis, we're talking the Little Yachties, the Little Thugs, the Little Uzi Verts. Now, of course, they have fans, and they have people, especially people like Uzi Vert, Young Thug. They've got fans and whatever. But I never hear about these artists from the fans. I hear about these artists from the haters. And that's going to be a lot of people watching this. You might not think you're like a hater, but if you're sharing these people's videos and sharing these people's content, regardless of what you're saying about them, you're supporting them, you're sharing them. And I think that the support that a lot of these artists get is a byproduct of people trying to hate on them. And I think that with social media being the way it is, people love to see people hated on. People love to hate. People love to share the negative stuff that's going on. They love the fight videos. They love the stupid little prank videos and stuff like that. So that spreads a lot faster. A lot of these artists are getting famous, and even to the extent, right? You know how a lot of people complain about the state of music right now? They're making artists popping that weren't popping before by sharing them, like, look at this dickhead. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how these people are getting famous. This is not to discredit, some of them are probably making great music. Some of them are probably on their business, like Lil Yachty is 100% on his business. He's getting it in like that. But, for the most part, I'm only ever hearing about him, and we're only ever hearing about him from someone who's saying, check out this trash. So I think the bigger question really is, like, who's making these people famous? Because it ain't the fans. You know what I mean? And you got to check your contribution to these people's fame. You might think, yeah, I'm hating on him and we're all going to laugh at this guy, but you're putting him on. You know what I mean? Let me just drop this mic. No, I'm joking. I ain't got money like that. I ain't got money like that.
Yo, I got one for you. Boom. Just drop a bomb on that. There you go, man. But you make an outstanding point, man. Like, people are so caught up with, I can't stand this, but then they'll turn around and watch the video. You know what I'm saying? They'll turn around and share it. Like, look at this stupid shit. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. I'm kind of, so for me, I'm all about integrity, about positivity. So I could never see myself out here putting negative content out for the sake of trying to get a view or whatever. You know what I mean? I can't operate in that realm. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm just watching the world change. Like, I always talk about my son, man. He's kind of getting Instagram famous. You know what I mean? Like, over 25,000 subscribers on his Instagram channel. But he is into, like, the shop. Let me tell you this fool, man. So we live down the street from you got Walgreens out there in the UK?
No, but when I went to Orlando, I went to one.
Okay, so you know about the Walgreens. So this fool brings a Walgreens shopping cart back to the house.
Okay.
I'm like, man, what the hell are you about to do with the shopping cart? I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out though. I don't know. Let's fucking buy some spray paint, some gold spray paint. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, hey, that slipped me. That slipped me, man. I hope people are in the comment section saying about that shit. You know what I mean? Because I ain't gonna pick everything up. You know what I mean? Because I'm listening for the context. I'm listening for the depth of conversation with people. And I swear myself. You know what I mean? So it ain't nothing out of the ordinary for me.
You know,
so we need them to pick up on this.
I'm putting $1.50 in there. I'm throwing in the reserves, man. A quarter a cuss word.
You know you're gonna swear.
Yeah, man. I got 6 more cuss words to go. Especially I'm talking about my son. They gonna come out, man. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So he buys some spray paint, some gold spray paint, and spray paints this shopping cart gold. And then he makes a video about how he's gold everything. I just bought this gold shopping cart just because it's gold, and he puts it on Instagram. He gets like 10,000 views. I'm like, what? I'm learning from him, man. You know what I mean?
It's crazy, man. I think it's a lot more simple for the younger, and just like I think we were talking about either the last episode or the one before about how simplification is the way, and the youth just want to simplify stuff. Where like a lot of the older people want to get into depth. They want their music to have depth. They want to, drag things out. But the younger just like bish bash bosh. Here we go, and it reflects in the music because like they just make music like and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Can't even hear half the stuff people are saying. Right. But it is just that we ain't got time. You know what I mean? They ain't got time like we got time.
So I'm just thinking about it, man. I got to show you guys this video. Such a jackass, man, but he's doing his thing, man. Can't be mad at him. Hold up. This is my son. He goes by the name LMAO Got Guru. He's got 23.2 thousand followers on Instagram. And so here's the video that he did that I was talking about, right? Let me see if it'll play it.
Hey man, it's Guru, the youngest flexor, 100K on my wrist. I don't even know what this is. I copied it, 100K, you know what I'm saying? Going to the God, you know what I'm saying? Everything 100K, the 100K with it. Hey man, it's Guru.
That's it, man.
You didn't even use the whole allocated time you could use for a video on Instagram. That one 59 seconds. That was about 9.
That's what I'm saying, man. In that particular video, man, it's like 1,333 likes and 10,000 views. I'm like, yo.
Yeah. Hey man, he seems real switched on though, because one day last week he said, "Hey, you know that picture you got on Facebook? It's got an extra C in success, right?" Like, oh shit.
Yeah, it sure did, man.
He knows it. He definitely knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? And he's obviously picked up a lot from you.
Yeah. So just that's the topic that we're discussing right now. Because I almost kind of feel like social media is the new Wild West. It's uncharted territory. There's people out here trying to do different things. The people out here making a lot of money doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
That's what it is, man.
That's what it is, man. I do think it, like with the youth, they ain't got the time like we have. Even though they got more time than us, they got more life to go. God willing. But we're willing, I think, a lot more to, like I say, get into depth and take our time with things. Where the youngers now, they're just like, we want it now, and we're gonna figure it out. And that's what I admire about the youth, man. Because I think one thing I hate to see, man, is like people, within our age ranges, maybe a little bit younger, a little bit older, they're just hating on the youngsters. Right. I mean, I hate that shit. Right. Don't hate on them. Like, if you don't like what they're doing, try and encourage them, try and teach them a better way. They're next.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you fall out of touch with what's going on in the culture, you're gonna be irrelevant. You're not gonna have this younger generation that are gonna follow what you do. If you're like, oh yeah, all these young kids. And whatever stance anybody wants to take on it, I'm sure there's a lot of people that just be ignorant as motherfucking fuck. Hey man, I ain't gonna swear, Jack.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna swear, Jack.
I'm gonna throw a quarter in for you, man. There it goes.
Thanks, man. Fuck. But where was I? I got caught up cussing, man.
It's all
but
good.
Yeah, it was the ignorant. Yeah, don't be ignorant to the stuff, man. You know what I mean? Just in general, just understand. Try to understand is all I'm saying. I ain't saying going out there with
Hold up, there's a screenshot. We lost connection, but I had to catch his face while it's frozen, just like that.
I think I cut out slightly.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. I got the screenshot, man. I got you.
I'm not. You got my back.
You're back now. I got you though.
Yeah, but I was saying, yeah, we should just try to understand them, man. You know what I mean? If you understand how the kids work, your business is going to stay alive long after everybody our age who didn't put the work in decides, you know what, I really need to stop chasing. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people will. And then all you're going to have is the younger people, if you don't understand and appreciate their culture, they're going to give a big F you.
Yeah, they are. And that's one of the major lessons that I'm learning with me having so many kids, right? So I've got to balance being daddy with also respecting the youth as they're humans, you know what I mean? They're individuals, you know? So I've got to find a way to walk that delicate line of disciplinary and respecting their opinions, the things that they're interested in. And I'm learning, man. Yo, congratulations to you once again. You got a seed on the way, man. So these are going to be lessons that you can take when your child is here. You know what I mean? So
big time, man. Yeah. It's going to be a whole other adventure, one that I've never. I'm sure I've experienced nothing like what I'm about to experience.
Right. You haven't. Yo, there are gonna be those days, man, to where you just kind of want to put them back in the womb, man. I promise you, bro.
Get it. I'm done. Get it.
Right. And then there are gonna be those days like, oh my, you watch their growth, you watch their maturity. Like my 17-year-old daughter, for example, man. She's doing her thing, man. She is about to simultaneously graduate from high school and earn an associate's degree at the same time. You know what I mean? So she's been busting her ass, putting in work to try to make that happen. And it's such a beautiful thing to see her interacting with her siblings. Like my youngest is 6 years old. So, you know, my 17-year-old is kind of like that mother figure to her. And it's just such a great thing to see that happening before my very eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely, man. She sounds like she's operating at the next level already, you know what I mean? Right. Which, as a sidebar, I think is something that I put out a few times. Just like you got to operate at the level higher than you are right now if you ever want to reach that next level. Because where's the opportunity going to come from? If you're performing at B grade, no one in the A grade is saying, yo, come with us. You know what I mean? Or no one who's tuned into the A grade is going to be like, yo, let's listen to the B grade. You know?
Right.
You gotta operate at A grade while you're a B grade.
Right.
You know.
And it's funny that you mentioned that. We were kind of chopping it up earlier offline, and you were talking about your book.
Yes, sir.
Yo, let's talk about that book real quick, man. I'm happy to see it happen, man.
Yeah.
It is called the Don't Get Mad, Get Motivated book, and you sent me an excerpt out of it. Hold on, real quick. Tell you what, why get it together? So you're like the best staller ever, man. Go ahead and talk about this.
Shall I show the shuffle again? I think maybe they haven't got that last week. But yeah, man. So the idea is, I say half, but let's just say the first part of the book is like a life story type of thing, where I shed light on some of the things that I've been through, some funny, some emotional, some impactful things that have happened to me in my life. That I guess in a way can explain the way I am, of course can explain the way I am today, like everybody's past life and the stuff they've been through can explain to a large part who they are today. But once I get through that part, which I'm about 50% of the way through, I'm going to start getting into like life lessons more than anything, which may not have specific stories, or they may just have little references where it's just basically going to be like how-to stuff, like how to keep a rock solid mindset, how to create more content, and like the marketing and growth kind of topics. So it's going to be a nice blend of, getting to know who I am as a brand and as a person, and then getting into more technicalities of how other people can leverage who they are and leverage what they're good at and leverage what they've been through to, create an audience and be able to connect with people on a large scale.
Absolutely, man. Salute to you, man. The Don't Get Mad, Get Motivated book by Daniel J. Scott, man. So excited about that one, man. Can't wait till it comes out. But we were talking offline, though, and you were telling me how you were snowed in. And you were having a difficult time, especially with the pregnant girlfriend, trying to manage writing more, you were having a hard time trying to manage what you need to do to complete the book. because you also had to make sure that she was straight. Go get her that McDonald's in the middle of the snow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you told me something that really just struck out to me, and I wanted to bring this to the people, because you were like, well, I needed to concentrate and make sure that she was good to go take care of her. So, all right, cool. When I get back to the book, then I'll go double time, triple time, quadruple time if I have to. And the thing that popped up in my mind is, all right, like I know your work ethic is all the way solid. I've been working with you, right? And the thing that pops up in my mind is, what are people really willing to do to achieve success? You said something, it's just a small thing, man. All right, if I can't get it done during the snow day, then I'll go hard. Double time, triple time, quadruple time to make sure that I'm on task. So, I just want to kind of talk about that, because I think a lot of times people aren't willing to do the things that need to happen in order to succeed, to achieve the success that they're looking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, man. Because my thought, my belief, man, is you got to handle being a man, or for the women out there, being a woman and what that entails. You've got to handle that first before anything, man. If you can't handle your business as a man, whether it's your family, kids or no kids, whether it's your income, and if you can't handle that shit, don't be sitting in front of everybody in the world talking like you're on some shit, because you're not. If you can't handle your life as it is, that's just the point I want to make. But like, as people saying, when I was snowed in, as a man, I've got to handle my pregnant girlfriend and make sure she's okay, and give her the attention she needs, because pregnant women are, I don't want to, they're a bit crazy. You know what I mean? They're a bit crazy, man. And this is something I'm experiencing myself,
That was a proper acronym, you know what I mean? Crazy. Yeah. That's the best way to describe it. But you know what, though? I think about it, man, and salute to all women who've ever carried a child, for real, because I couldn't do it, and I know that it would make me crazy, too, man. You got another human being in your body for 9 months, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I would be crazy, too.
Crazy. But yeah, like, I thought, okay, let me just double down on, being with my girlfriend and making sure she's okay. And then I got home today, and straight away I got home, I'm like, right, let's get stuff done, because I need to make up for the time that I wasn't able to do stuff. So it was triple down, quadruple down, is doing more than the next person's willing to do, because you're only restricted by how much you want it and how much work ethic you're willing to give. Like, I remember when I first started GetRichRapping.com, and rest in peace, GetRichRapping.com. But I was pumping out, 3-4 blog posts a day, and we're talking 500 to 1,000 to 1,500 word blog posts, 3-4 of those a day, putting out 3 videos a day. I had people messaging me like, how are you able to do it? I struggle to make 1 piece of content a day, let alone a week. And I'm like, I just want to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just willing to do it. I'm full. If you're operating and you're learning all the time, and you're taking action all the time and learning through that, and you're discovering things, that you should have content coming out your ass, man. You know what I mean? Don't get stuck on content. If you can't think of anything good for content, then you ain't really out there learning, living, making mistakes, and having successes. Because that's your content right there. I'm just like, me and Peter sat here just talking about our weeks, talking about like things are going on in our lives, and that's because stuff's happening. And I think the way people get stuck for content is all they do is focus on one thing, or maybe not one thing. They focus on like say the producer that only ever makes beats, or the artist that only ever records songs. Of course, you're struggling for content because you ain't really living. You're just creating. You know what I mean? You gotta live too. That's how you're gonna get your stories. That's how you're gonna get your contacts. That's how you're gonna get your ideas. Take a trip. You know what I mean? Fuck music off for a week or something. No one's waiting if you're not on. And go take a trip and experience some stuff, and come back and be able to share more, to add more depth to your music, to appeal to other cultures and other things people do and go through. You know what I mean?
Salute.
Respect.
Myself, brother.
Respect.
And what's dope, like this whole podcast in itself, man, all we did would say, you know what? Our conversations are dope. Let's put it together in a podcast. There it is. There's your content. You know what I mean? Just our conversations in itself, we were able to find a way to turn our conversations into content.
Yeah,
you know?
100%, man. Because I remember I had asked, I put a status out, I just asked people, yo, who on my friends list has got a podcast? Because what I was going to do was I was going to try and get interviews with people, you know what I mean? Sit on their podcast. And then Pete hit me up, and then I inboxed him, and he said, yo, I can't remember who said it first, but we were just like, I'm trying to make a podcast, and the other one was like, I'm trying to make a podcast too. I'm like, we're trying to make a podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fuck that, we doing it. We married now. Fuck that, we doing this shit together.
Yeah, 100%. So, oh, what, you did it again?
Oh,
hey, man, the
the
audience better be picking this up, man, because I don't want nothing slipping through the cracks, man.
Listen.
We need to get this habit out of P, you know what I mean? I'll get to it in good time, you know what I mean? But if we're both trying to focus on it, how can I support P if I'm trying to do it too? You know what I mean? We need you guys more so than me to pick up on it. But yeah, maybe one day I'll collect a little swear jar and we can go through the process again, and you can definitely revel in that shit, P.
You know what?
You know what I mean?
I'm running out of money already. I'm running out of money.
Yeah, be right back going to the bank.
Listen, for real. We're gonna have to end the podcast if I keep cussing, man.
Man, running a podcast is expensive. I didn't know there was that many costs.
Right. Show, man. Yo, man, what's been going on in the world this week, man? It's a lot of.
Yeah.
I heard Rick Ross is in the hospital, man.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, man. I know he struggled with health a lot.
Yeah.
Over the years.
Hold on real quick, man. I love technology, man, because we're able to like just pull up stuff on the fly. You know what I mean?
What's that say up there? Pornhub? What?
Stop it.
I'm more an X videos man myself.
Yeah, apparently Rick Ross is on advanced life support after hospitalization, man. That's crazy. Apparently, I guess he's currently in the Miami area hospital getting treatment in the cardio unit, which might be an indication that he actually suffered a heart attack. As the story goes, someone from his residence called 911 on Thursday, claiming that a man in distress, presumably Rick, was breathing heavy and unresponsive. So, yo, man, our best wishes out to him, and man.
Yeah, man. Get well soon, Rick Ross.
Yeah, man, for real.
100%, man. Because, you know what, he's an inspiration, and he made everybody want to be a boss.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And even though I'm G-Unit all day, I'm G-Unit till I die. You know what I mean? I grew up with the G-Unit all day, man. But at the end of the day, Rick Ross is an inspiration.
Yeah.
Rick Ross is someone who... And let's take a moment for Rick Ross's beat choice, which is immaculate, man.
What?
Rick
That
Ross's
in
beat
itself
choice
is an inspiration. Like, as an artist, you would hear Rick Ross and be like, you know what? I got to step up my beat selection. You know what I mean? Real talk. And I'm glad that we bringing up Rick Ross. This is kind of popping in my head. I think about the scandal that he had when he was people were calling him fake because he was a correctional officer. That was what his job was. And so I want to take a moment during our podcast to kind of talk about that for a moment, all right? So there are a lot of people who are out here before they achieve the dreams that they really are pursuing. They have a 9-to-5. You know what I mean? And Rick Ross just happened to be a corrections officer, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I want people to understand that you can't do anything that you're trying to achieve, whether it be music, whether it be you selling pottery, whether it be you trying to be the best in Bitcoin, whatever you're trying to do, man, it takes some sort of income to come in to being able to do it. So if Rick Ross was a corrections officer, that's okay. Not mad at it. You know, I just remember all the flack that he was catching from it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want anybody out there to feel, though, as even though you're chasing your dreams, that you can't still work a 9-to-5. It's levels to this. Meek Mill says there's levels to this. I'm saving my dollar. I'm not gonna cuss. Meek Mill says there's levels to this, right? And one of the levels that you got to realize is that it takes money to make money. And if you have no other way other than a 9 to 5 to get you through those patches, then that's okay.
Yeah.
However, there's going to be a point in time to where you have to take that risk and let it go. But don't set yourself up for failure before letting that 9 to 5 go. You know what I mean? Steve Harvey, I love Steve Harvey, man. He says some of the most inspirational things. If you listen to his show, he starts it off by speaking inspiration. And one of the things that he said the ladder of success is similar to jumping off of a cliff and having faith that you will eventually fly, right? So just imagine you're jumping off this cliff and it's going to be rocky on the way going down. You might tumble, you might get knocked down a few times, but eventually you will fly. So before you jump off that cliff, just make sure that you have all of the equipment that you need. Nobody needs to be out here struggling for no reason, because there are people who just quit their job, pursue their passion, and they'll hit all these brick walls. And you weren't ready yet. You know what I mean? But at some point in time, you gotta just jump. You gotta have the faith that you're gonna be able to succeed and to make it. You know what I mean?
100%, man. 100%. Because I know, like for 3 years, I didn't have a job. For 3 years, I made it out. When I finished Get Rich Rapping, the income obviously took a hit. I just needed to get out of music in that capacity. You know what I mean? Because it just wasn't good for my mental. Picked up a little part-time job, which I do now, 3 nights a week. Like I was talking about either last episode or the one before, where I just sit in a building overnight, man. I just got a license. I'm security, and I sit in the building, and as long as I do my checks every now and again, I can just sit there and plug all this stuff, you know what I mean, and do what I got going on here. But I didn't need to do that for 3-4 years, so it's possible, man. And just like you say, it is a risk. You know what I mean? You got to put yourself out there. It is a risk, and I always managed to keep afloat for as long as I chose to. You know what I mean? It was only when I chose to shut everything down that I had to take the hit so I could recenter and put myself back out there and really work on things. But one thing for sure, man, is you can't be out here as one of these people who ain't willing to invest in what they do, music or otherwise. You know, and even when we were streaming the broadcast just then, the last podcast we did, you know, Brian Ellis left a comment where it said, and some people are going to ask you for money when you hit them up for stuff. And it's their right to, man. A lot of people, if you want quality and people are being putting in work, there's going to be a price. You know, and if you're the kind of person that just says no to every opportunity because there's a price attached, you're never going to find that opportunity that you need.
Ooh.
Drop
the mic, baby. Drop the mic. That's what I'm saying, man. And I think that's what. So the dollar, man. The dollar. I got a dollar right here. The dollar is so precious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I understand people trying to cling on to every dollar that they can. But at some point in time, you got to spend that dollar. You've got to, because that's the only way that you're going to grow. Speaking of Rick Ross, he had an intro, not the last album he made, but the one before that. And on this intro, it said that everything can be purchased for a price. Knowledge can be purchased for a price. So if this person over here is successful at doing what they're doing, and they just so happen to be selling a way that you can do it, why would you not purchase that? And yeah, granted, everybody's trying to sell knowledge nowadays, you know what I mean? And you might get burnt a couple of times, but along the way, you're gaining knowledge that you didn't have before. You know, so scared money don't make money, you heard?
Definitely, man. And I think, like, when you look around, you see so many gurus and shit, and I understand skepticism. You know what I mean? I just hate the term guru, like, to an extent, the word guru, just because it's like, it's almost like what qualifies someone to be that. There are a lot of people out here that are just following the model of a guru, like, say they weren't doing nothing, and then they decided, I'm going to be a guru. I'm going to work towards being a guru.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas, you know, the real gurus, the real people who know some stuff, they started somewhere. You know what I mean? They didn't start off trying to be a guru. They started in production. They started in being an artist. They started in being a digital marketer. They started somewhere where they picked this up. It's not like this empty niche that's only just come along now, where someone has just gone from doing absolutely nothing to do with their passion to being like, right, I'm just going to be a guru. You know what I mean? I understand avoiding those kind of people. But, you know, when you look at gurus, look at what they did before they were a guru. You know what I mean? Look at, you know, what they built as far as a niche and an actual business, an actual thing where they learned this stuff. You know, because there's book knowledge and then there's experience. And experience beats book knowledge. Don't get me wrong, read your books, go through your books, you're going to learn a lot of stuff, but only if it's been written by someone who's got experience in something.
Yo, you bring up a great point, because I know so many cats, they go to college, right? And or they get locked up in jail, you know what I'm saying? And now all of a sudden they've been enlightened, they've been woke, and they come home from either college or jail, and now they have all of this book knowledge. But man, you can't apply that ish. Caught myself. You can't apply that ish to the real world with no experience. You feel what I'm saying? Real talk, man. And,
that's it, man.
That's what it is, man. That's what it is.
Definitely. And someone I like, man, is Gary Vee. I like Gary Vee. I think he gets a bit too intensive for me sometimes. I have to take breaks from Gary Vee because he's very similar. But like, it's just because, to an extent, that's the only message you ever got to hear. You know what I mean? Is what he's saying, and what other people are saying is like, shut the fuck up and do it. You know what I mean? That's essentially the basis.
I'm kind of late to Gary Vee. I ain't gonna front. About maybe about 2 years ago, I discovered Gary Vee, and I actually discovered him on the Breakfast Club, like with Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy and Angela Yee, and he was on there. I'm like, who the hell is this dude? And I went and Googled him, and
boom.
Wow. Yeah. Gary Vee was on there talking about taking advantage of every opportunity that you can, because we're living in this day and age to where you have abundant opportunities. And one of the things he was saying, he was like, you know what? If I was in high school right now and I ain't have nothing going on for myself, then I would just look around my house and I would just take all this stuff that I have that I'm not using, and I would sell it on eBay, and I would open up an eBay company. You know what I mean? And when he said it, I'm like, in my mind, like, well, anybody can do that. And the way that he broke it down was that, all right, if you make $20 here, $30 there, even though they might be small sales, it all adds up. And then you take that money and then you invest it into something larger. That's all investors do. They get money, then they invest it right back into something larger. Then they get money from that, invest it back into something larger. And all right, if you only made $40 that week, that's $40 you ain't had before. Take that $40, flip it. It's like the dope game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Take 40, flip it to 80, 80, 160, 160 to 320, you know what I mean? Boom. And when he broke it down in such a simple manner, it just struck me like, how the hell is nobody else doing this? Why aren't people thinking the way that this dude is thinking? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, funny story. My girlfriend got a phone upgrade recently. She went from I can't remember what it was, but she's got a new iPhone that she got a few months ago, and so she went on Facebook Marketplace and she sold it for, I think it was 180. And so we go down there. We meet this kid. He's like a college student or whatever. He buys the phone for 180. By the time we've got home, he's back on the marketplace with the same phone, selling that phone for 200. And she's like, who does he think he is? You know what I mean? I'm like, nah. Should have advertised it for 200. You know what I mean? Should have advertised it for 200. You know?
Real talk, man. It's all kinds of hustles out here, man. And like a lot of people, they may associate the word hustle with criminal activity. Nah, man, hustling is a state of mind.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. It's a state of mind, you know? Like, okay, so I'm throwing in all of this money into a cuss jar, right? Y'all know what I'm gonna do with this money? I'm gonna flip it. And the things that I have been intimidated to purchase, I'm going to now take this cuss jar and make those purchases. That is somewhat of my punishment for cussing. But in the same breath, it's a way to invest. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I feel like in 2018, you've got to always be looking for avenues that you can make $1, flip $1, invest $1. You know, and a lot of times you might not immediately make that investment back on the dollar that you spent, but it will come back on the long end, man. And I think people are just so scared to let go of that dollar. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So.
Big time, man. It's all about diversifying your prices, diversifying your product. Like my email funnel is started off the first email. I was saying you can grab this now for a low offer of $7, and then 7 emails in, there'd be like a $20 product. Then maybe 13, 14 emails in, there'd be a $40. Then there'd be a $100. Then there'd be a $200 product. Then it would be a 6-month.
Well, let me
6-month coaching package. But it all trickles in. You know what I mean? Where you've got, and I'm getting PayPal notifications every day at one point where it's like $7, $20, $100, and you're having that price range for everybody to be comfortable buying from you.
Well, I wanted to kind of back you up because I know there may be some people, and it kind of blows my mind. I meet people every day. When I say the word email funnel, they don't even really understand or know. They don't understand the email funnel. They don't even understand what a sales funnel is. So, yo, man, you are a specialist at this stuff, man. I've looked up to you for quite some time. Why don't you go ahead and let's back it up for a moment and let's talk about exactly what a sales funnel is, what it consists of, and how people can utilize it to benefit what they're trying to do.
Okay, so a sales funnel in general is going to be basically what happens after your first contact with someone. So whether it's someone watching your video or someone reading your blog post or finding you on social media, you've got to gear some kind of system where they're going from A to B to C to D to E and so on. So you've got to have some kind of process. So for me, it was when people would find me on social media, they'd end up going to my website. When they end up going to my website, they end up getting offered something to join my email list. When they join my email list, I'm going to send them content. So more blog posts, more videos, and I'm going to send them sales. I'm going to send them emails that are just asking them how they're doing and what they've been working on. So it's all running on autopilot. So the moment that someone gets into my email funnel, every day. So at one point I had like 2,500, 3,000 people receiving an email off me every single day at different points. So it's something called an autoresponder. So I'll set up, like, say, I don't know, I think I got up to maybe like 60 emails in this funnel. So when someone signs up to this funnel, they're going to go all the way from email 1 through to email 60. Then, so tomorrow they'll be on day 2, and then someone who signs up tomorrow will be on day 1, while the person who signed up yesterday is on day 2. So no matter what, these people go through this process, and then you're tweaking it as you go along. So I'm noticing email 1 through to 5 have got like 60% open rate, and I'm thinking, right, email 6 is down. What is it about email 6? And I'm going into it, I'm saying, right, the title's a bit different to the other ones, or the content is a bit too wordy compared to the other ones. And then I'm tweaking it just to have this sales funnel, so that when I'm going out about my business, whether I'm making more content, whether I'm going out to enjoy myself, whether I'm traveling somewhere, my process is always running. I'm always building new fans, new subscribers, new followers, and sales. And you've got to have that in place. And I think the reason a lot of artists and maybe producers don't really embrace this process is because the artists that are big may not be on that. But you've got to get to a position where you've got money to put yourself on. It's going to be really hard to make any money on social media without a funnel, because if you don't have a funnel, then you're restricted to, what you do in a day. So whether it's putting out an update or, having to message 20 people and try and build a conversation, as opposed to having this process which take people from content to your email funnel and hopefully eventually make them a customer.
Man.
You know?
That, my friend, is why the Get Rich Rapping podcast was so important. That's why the Get Rich Rapping website was so important. Because outside of rap, people need to know these things. So I have been embarking on a journey myself to where I'm getting not away from social media, but getting outside of social media simultaneously and dealing with people in the real world. And it just amazes me. It blows my mind. I meet very successful business owners who are doing their thing with brick and mortars, but they're clueless to what a sales funnel is. You know what I mean? So this is a space that people just aren't aware of. And this is like natural to businesses nowadays. You know what I mean? All of the major Fortune 500 companies have some sort of sales funnel. Even McDonald's has a sales funnel that they use through social media. So this is the new way to do business. And you've got to grasp this concept, man. I mean, I can't explain how important it is to grasp the concept of what a sales funnel actually is. You know what I mean? So salute to you for breaking down that explanation, man.
Definitely, man. So like, absolutely. Just like you say, all these companies are using it, even McDonald's and stuff like this, restaurants I go to, where I'll be sat at the table, I'll be looking at the menu, and on the menu it says, sign up now and we'll give you 10% off your order. So I sign up for their email, get my 10%, and then next week on Friday, they're going to send me an email, say, come down for 20% off. You know what I mean? They create more custom. Like if me and my girl are going to go out for food, I'll check my email first, man. I'll see like, who's got the deal. You know what I mean? Who's offering me more than 20% today? Right. Oh, Frankie and Benny's is offering 30% off today. Let me hit that. Yeah. Let me hit that.
Groupon is the master. Groupon, like you saying, before you go anywhere, let me check my email. Yo, wifey's the same way, man. Before we go anywhere, hold up, let me get on this Groupon right quick. You know what I'm saying? So
big cut.
Yeah, man.
I'm big on vouchers, man.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, she laughs at me, man. She's like, just because I'm always looking for vouchers. I'm like, what? You want to pay more? You know what I mean? Well, it's there. You know what I mean? If I look for this coupon and it's 50% off, you want to pay full price?
Right.
More for you, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know
but I'm gonna tell you what the worst is. The worst is after you've gone to the movies or you've done something, and then you see like 2 days later how it's like 40% off.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It happens with Spotify all the time, man.
Right.
Like, I've had 2 accounts on Spotify because I'm paying like $9.99 a month or whatever it was for, in pounds. And then I saw an advert and it said, it was 99 pence a month for new starters. I was like, well, I'm getting a new Spotify account. Let me cancel this one. Well, I think it was 99p for 3 months. I was like, well, for 3 months, I'm going to be using the 99p one because why would I pay $9.99 when I can get it for 99p? Like, it ain't about pretending to be balling, man. It's about actually saving and having money. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's where it's twisted.
You bring up a very great point. So going back to creating content, right? What people have to do even more important than creating content is you got to create value. So we're sitting here talking about Groupon, you're talking about Spotify. What type of value are you creating within your sales funnel and within the content that you are creating? You know what I mean? That's key right there. Value is key because I've signed up for so many things throughout the years, and the only ones that I pay attention to are the ones that are actually bringing me true value. You know what I mean? I use
100%.
I use a service on the back end. So, like I said, I mentioned this earlier, I'm a program director at a radio station, and so people are submitting music to me all the time. I use a service called Jotform, and it really, that's how you fill out your information, you put it together, and then boom, I use a Jotform on the website, and people are able to submit their music. But one of the things that I love about Jotform, they will, now that I've signed up with the service, I'm on their email list, I'm inside of their sales funnel. And one of the dopest things, I'm always looking forward to their emails because they're providing value from the perspective of business owners and ways that you can use Jotform to create different forms to help grow your business. You know what I mean? versus I don't know, Express, right? I got on an Express tie, the store Express. I got an Express tie on, an Express sweater, an Express shirt. They're always sending me emails. The only time they communicate with me is when they have a sale or some shit going on. And it's like, all right, that's cool and everything, but where's the value? What they were suggestion that I have for them is maybe create content in these emails that show me how I can maybe wear this tie better, how I could wear this shirt and this sweater better. And as a consumer of your clothing, show me models who look fly that's going to make me want to buy even more. That would make me want to buy more than, oh, we got 20% off, come in. I wasn't thinking about coming to your store, and your emails that say you got 20% off is not going to incent me to come in. There's no real value with that particular content unless at that moment in time I happen to be coming to Express anyway. You know what I'm saying? So value,
100%.
Value is key, man.
Big time, man. Because I knew as a producer, I was never going to, there's the off chance that people around them listen to my beats, but they're not necessarily looking for my name. So for me, it was like, I know they're looking for how to promote myself. I know they're looking how to get a record deal. I know they're looking for this kind of information. So for me, I was just out there making videos and sharing the things that I've learned and how I had got to, like, say, for example, at one point, if you look for how to promote my music, number 1 on YouTube, number 3 on Google. If you look for how to build a fan base like Drake, I was number 1 on YouTube, number 1 on Google. If you look for how to make money off your music, number 1 on YouTube, I think like 4 or 5 on Google. You know what I mean? So I put myself in a position to be found. I know that the more value I provide for people, at first I wasn't making courses, at first I wasn't making ebooks, I wasn't making stuff like that. I was just making beats, and I was selling beats just off the strength of people just saying, like, you know what, I owe this guy. Even though they didn't, you know what I mean? They didn't owe me nothing.
Reciprocity. That's a
Reciprocity.
magical word.
You know what I mean?
Magical word.
It just made them willing to listen, you know what I mean? Like even you said, when you found me, you were like, what? You listening to what I have to say, and then you found out that I made beats, and you were like, what? He produces. I gotta check this out.
Man, listen, hold on, man. Let me turn this up right quick.
Okay.
I'm just saying, man. The producer formerly known as Eskimo, rest in peace. It's one of my top 5 producers, man. That's what it is, man. I'm just saying.
Respect, man.
But yeah, man, that's what it's all about, man. Just creating value. And what value does is create a form of reciprocity. And for those who don't know what reciprocity is, it's just a nice way of saying, you do for me, I'm gonna do for you. And then you kind of feel indebted to doing for this other person because they're providing you with value. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, it's almost about that time. A lot of things been happening in the world that I want to talk about, man. I know that you got a move to make, man. I don't want to drag this out too much.
Hey, man, we're all good, man. I got a text to say not to stress about what I was supposed to stress about.
Oh, don't stress success.
So
baby.
yeah, don't stress. Don't stress. You know, don't stress. What are you stressing? No.
Something that caught my attention. So we have this whole the Black Panther movie came out, man, and I think it set the world on fire to a degree. You know what I mean? It'll be real interesting to see where we are with this movement 6 months from now. And so for those who don't know, Black Panther is a movie. It's a fictional movie about superheroes. Black Panther happens to be one of the superheroes in the Marvel universe. And what was really awesome for black people was that here we go, a movie that is showing a hero with a majority black cast. The writers on there were majority black. And that for me was awesome, right? And people gonna feel one way or the other about it. You know what I mean? You're gonna have people out there that kind of feel like, hold on, I think I got the music up a little bit too loud. I got excited. You're gonna have people out there that felt about all types of people have all different types of attitudes. So there's some people that I bump into that feel like, well, why are we celebrating this moment? And then other people are like, can't you see why we're celebrating this moment? And for me, I think it's a moment to celebrate simply because you don't see that happening in the mainstream. And granted, it's a movie about a superhero, it's fictional, but that's the times that we live in right now, to where those are the types of things that we celebrate. Now, here's where I challenge everybody who's celebrating Black Panther in the United States. I want to see y'all ass. I want to see y'all motherfucking ass at the votings and the polls, all right? I'm putting my money in the cuss jar. I want to see y'all ass out at the polls when it's time to vote. That same excitement that you had for Black Panther when it came out, let me see your ass at the polls and make some real change. That's my concern, that we as a people get excited about things that aren't making any real change. So that's my perspective on that. But what I really thought was interesting is that I found a Twitter movement that's kind of going on right now. And what they were talking about was the fact, let me pull this up, that this week in Brixton, South London, there were all around the town, there were famous movie and television show posters that had been recreated to feature Black leads. Campaign groups Legally Black and Advocacy Academy worked together on the posters to highlight the lack of Black actors in leading roles before subvertising group. Special patrons stepped in to give them a wider platform across bus stops in the area. So apparently what's happening is throughout London, they at bus stops are kind of recreating all of these famous movies. Like, for example, here's Harry Potter, right? Imagine Harry Potter with an all-black cast. And at the top it says, if you're surprised, it means you don't see enough Black people in major roles. And here's the one for Titanic, one for Skins.
They got a token white guy for a change.
Right. You know what I mean? Here's one for Doctor Who. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just thought that was a really dope movement right there. There's one for 007 Skyfall. You know, and I just thought it was a really dope movement, because you're right, man. When you see that, it's kind of like, wow. And at the top of each one, it says, if you're surprised, it means you don't see enough Black people in major roles. And I kind of feel like maybe we've gotten to a point to where the status quo is now being broken, which I feel that was the importance behind Black Panther. You know what I mean? So, yo, you out there in London right now. How far away are you from Brixton?
Maybe like 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Have you gotten the opportunity to see any of these billboards?
No, this is news to me, man. I didn't. But I do have I have an interesting perspective just on all of that, right?
Right.
I don't know if there's anything new. I also want to say that, you know, not for a moment am I saying that I can relate to the African American struggle, because I can't. But I'll just say this, right? Now, statistically, there's more Caucasian people in America, right? So, you know, in a sense, you would say that that's what's going to be more relatable when someone makes a movie. So the movie's going to be more of a success if they cast more Caucasian people, right? Because people do just support their own more than they'll support anybody else, right? If you ask most Puerto Rican rappers who's the best rapper ever, they're all going to tell you Big Pun. You know what I mean? If you ask African Americans, they're going to say Pac or Biggie. If you ask white Americans, no. And this is Eminem. You know, I mean, this isn't like one size fits all. I'm not saying this is the case for everybody, you know, but you know, in a huge amount of cases, that's what it's going to be. But when Black people in America put their unity, when they're unified and they put their money and they put their focus together, what happens? You get #1 blockbusters. You get motherfucking presidents. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's been the, you know, and I've seen videos and stuff on Facebook and YouTube before where people sum up the problem. They say, Black buying power is fucking powerful.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, just to think that how many, I don't know the statistics, right? But there's billions and billions of, you know, dollars in the system that are Black owned. That are Black used, so they say. when you pull that out of the system has to listen to you because they just lost how much billion. And then when you put all those billions or a majority of those billions into something like Black Panther, it just shows you the power of what that is. And like I say, I don't know the struggle.
Nah,
you know
but
what I mean? I don't.
I want to say, because I can see the trolls right now. Who the fuck is this white boy with this funny ass accent? Nah, tell people about your heritage, man. You know what I mean? Nah, bro.
Yeah, I'm just light skinned as fuck. I'm light skinned. You know what I mean? That's what,
where your daddy from? Tell them where your daddy from.
Yeah, my ill from Jamaica.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I'm pale as fuck. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna be like the logic guy that's like, oh, I'm half black, guys. I'm half black. You know what I mean? I swear. You know what I mean? I'm not that kind of guy. I just am who I am. You know what I mean?
Yo, man.
But it is what it is, and I am what I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I do understand on I understand the culture.
Yeah.
I was raised in the same, maybe not the American one, but the British one, the Caribbean one. I understand the culture. I'm from it. I live it.
And
but
that was a very dope perspective that you just broke down, because you were talking about black buying power. You know what I mean? So what's relatable to that for me, going back to how we opened up the show with Tekashi 6ix9ine, you know what I'm saying? And for those who might not have caught the show in the beginning, we were kind of talking about this guy. Hold on, let me find him again. And you know what it is, you know what I'm saying? He looks like a pack of Skittles, but he's out here making moves, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so what we were discussing earlier when it came to him was the fact that people are supporting him, rather indirectly or directly. So if you just take your dollars and you take your support and put it in the right buckets, and you can achieve so much. And this is kind of for my folks who are out here right now that make music. You know what I mean? I'm a program director at a radio station, so I deal with a lot of artists. So for you guys who are always complaining about XYZ with Skittle-looking motherfuckers, there you go. Y'all are complaining about that, but what are you really doing to put your resources together? And Black Panther is a great example. I'm so glad that you hit that from that angle, Daniel, because that's a great example of what putting together your resources can do for you. So let's take this outside of the realm of entertainment and music, right? And let's take it and put it back into the realm of the resources that you have around you, the people that you're meeting, and the networks that are being created all around you, no matter what type of business that you may be trying to pursue. Pool those resources, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And like, for example, right now, myself and Daniel J. Scott, we're pooling our resources, man. He is really, really, really a marketing specialist. And I do broadcasting, you know what I mean? So we put it together and made this podcast a reality. And on the back end, he's doing a lot of the marketing, the promo for it to try to help it grow. And on the other end, I'm designing the show, putting it out there and broadcasting it. So we have put together our resources, and that's another great way to achieve success. When you sit here and you're in a little box and you're just going to be, I'm going to do it myself. Nah, man, it don't work that way, man. The world is not rotating because of one person. It takes a community of different entities to make things pop. You know what I mean?
100%, man. And I also think, I guess, really tagging back to what we were just saying as well, and especially the idea of taking her out of the realm of music. Anything that you give attention is going to grow. Oh, it's happened again. I think I cut out. Yeah.
No, you're good,
anything
you're
you give attention is. Oh, good. Oh, it's all frozen up for me, but hey, as long as I'm still going, don't want to miss nothing. But yeah, whatever you give attention grows, man. If you focus on problems, it grows. If you focus on solution, the solution grows. I mean, if you focus on the negative, you're going to see all the stuff you don't want to see. If you focus on the positive, you're going to see all the stuff you do want to see. And, just, I guess, to tag back in relation why that is in relation to something like Black Panthers. That's where all the attention was, so it grew. You know what I mean? Tekashi and all these, Fruit Loop rappers, they're growing.
You call them Fruit Loop?
Fruit Loop. But, these Starbursts, these Jolly Rancher rappers, they're growing because we're giving them attention. It don't matter that on your post you said, look at this whack ass guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's more views, it's more comments, and then at that point, companies can just give them money, just like, yo, wear our hats in your video.
Yeah.
Wear our clothes in your video. And by the way, anybody out there wants to send some stuff to us for the podcast, if you want us to rock your stuff, feel free to hit us up. We got an email, which is what's it? Don't Stress Success Podcast. I'll put the link in. I'll put the link in the description for you to send us stuff. If you want to send us stuff, we'll give you our addresses or whatever to send it to. We'll rock your stuff. Hey man, as long as it ain't trash.
Yeah. It gotta be up the par, man. It's gotta be up the par, man. I'm not wearing any onesies, by the way. I'm not gonna do that. No onesies, man.
And I know I'm not exactly ASAP Rocky. You know what I mean? I ain't got close game like that. You know what I mean? But I got a little bit of self-respect.
Right.
You know?
I feel that, man. I feel that. So, I kind of want to segue into this, man, because, man, first of all, I just want to salute you, man. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this, man. You know what I mean?
Same way to you.
Because I feel like what we're doing is awesome. And one of the things that I want to talk about, so we're on, I believe this is our 3rd episode. And one of the things I want to talk about is growth. So the first episode, I think when we signed off, we did maybe like 200 views. The second episode, we did about 500 views. So it like doubled in growth. We'll see what this 3rd episode does. Maybe it'll drop off. Maybe it'll be even more growth, and that would be awesome. But I want to talk about, we mentioned Gary Vee earlier today. And I thought it was just really awesome, a video that he put out. And it put things in perspective for me. Right? And I just kind of want to give people a little bit of my background. My name is PThePolitician, right? But before all of that, right? Like, let's rewind about maybe 13 years ago. I started off with just a dream. My brother was incarcerated at the time, and I wanted him to come home to have something to keep him out of trouble and to keep him focused on when he came home. So I started up a record label. I did the research. I figured out how to LLC. I figured out the equipment that I would need to actually produce music. And so that's where I really kind of broke my cherry, you know what I'm saying? And got it in. I was producing. And while he was locked up, the record label grew. In Charleston, I think we had like 12 different artists. And so then, like 8 years go by, he finally comes home. And at that point in time, I had learned how to produce, how to run a record label. I learned about business with LLCs. I learned how to book artists and get them paid shows. And then he came home and, he was just kind of focused on doing some other things. So you fast forward to a few years ago with Facebook and with really figuring out my place. So I kind of graduated from producing, which I still produce, by the way. I all the artists that I was dealing with, they went on and did different things. And so I found myself in a place trying to figure out this new world of social media. And then Facebook started letting you go live. And prior to that, I had discovered Periscope. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this live stuff is really cool. It's a great way to keep people engaged. So I started doing these little small broadcasts, and I would have people, actually how I started, I would make beats. And then I started going live and showing people the beats that I was making, right? And I'm like, you know what? This has the potential to be way bigger. So I started having people send me their music, and I just started playing their music. And it got to the point to where I had so many people sending me their music, then I figured, you know what? Let me start a radio station, because there's no way that I can play all of this music on Facebook Live, right? And I'm telling you, and so now here I am. I'm the program director at a radio station. I'm a producer. I wear all these different hats. I'm sitting here broadcasting the Don't Stress Success podcast, and I'm here to tell you some of my experiences, you heard? So I say all that to say this, is that I'm always feeling like, when is this going to really, really take off and really, really happen? And you might be sitting back wondering the same thing about whichever brand that you're trying to grow. When is it going to really happen? When is it going to take off? And going back to Gary Vee, man, he put together a beautiful video that shows his progression into where he is now. So we're going to get into that, but yo, Daniel J. Scott is in the building, and I'm sure you've got a story to tell as well. You know what I mean? So.
Okay, so maybe when I was about 19, 20, I started a blog called Eskimo Rap. Like before that, I get into it more in the book. But before that, I was just sort of like floating around or whatever, doing a little bit of music here and there. I started this blog that within a couple of months was getting like 5,000, 6,000 views, sometimes more. And then what happened was I was getting a lot of sponsorships. Every artist I was putting on there, I was ending up the first result in Google for them. So every UK artist, if you search their name, all the big ones, it was sending people to my site. So the traffic was crazy. Eventually, sort of that died down due to it was a relationship I was in where it was kind of like an ultimatum: either focus on me or focus on that. And being young and naive, oh no, I can't lose her. You know what I mean? And both ended up going down the pan. So moved forward a few years, I started pushing the music a bit more and doing a bit better with that. Eventually I decided, you know what, I want to get into beats. I got into beats, started selling a lot of beats, and then through learning how to sell beats, I started making videos, teaching other people how they can do it, whether they were other producers or artists.
Hey,
or
I'm so
anything.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you were talking about beats. I just want to turn this up real quick.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
No doubt. So yeah,
right quick.
I was making beats like this, and obviously, and then giving out the game that I was learning from selling them, and then started making courses, started making ebooks and things like that, and that evolved, and I started doing coaching, and then I kind of came to a crossroads where now don't get me wrong. I'd never strike anyone off because they're a musician, right? But I just find there's a really high percentage of musicians that just waste your time. I think it's a thing of when you work in a talent-based business, you come across a lot of delusional people. You come across a lot of people who don't understand that it's going to take money, that it's going to take time, that it's going to take effort, it's going to take manners, it's going to take networking, it's going to take relationships, it's going to take, and I could go on with going to takes all night, right? People just, I got a hot song, let me be on. You know what I mean? And you don't really get that in other businesses. So really, I got to a crossroads where, like, don't get me wrong, again, this podcast, we'll talk about music. I know, most of my audience is music. I tend to only really deal with people who are bigger than the music, that are an entity, full stop. The one websites, the one blogs, the one YouTube channels, that want to make content, that want to sell things over the music, merchandise, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's who I really reach out to. But that's where I am right now, is just I'm in this space. It's danieljscott.com is my website. Go over there. There's a bunch of blog posts and merch and some other stuff that you can buy. Don't get mad, get motivated and all that stuff. And really, yeah. So I'm in this position right now where I want to, this podcast and my book is where I want to push. And really just to go with the message, the piece started with is when is it going to happen for you? But it's always going to be evolving. When I started my blog back in the day, and when I was doing music back in the day, I never thought I was going to end up being a coach, being a marketing expert. If you want to call me that. I never expected that I was going to be that. And I think the people have got to be a bit more open-minded in, not being so rigid all the time and thinking this is going to be my path. Because you're going to come along this path and you're going to be forced to go left. You're going to be forced to go right. Sometimes they're going to be the only ways to go forward. You know what I mean? You've just got to embrace that, you might have started off with this vision, but often we don't know nothing about what we're embarking on. And so we have this false make-believe idea of what it's going to be, and then we get there and it's not that, and it's like, well, so what is it then? And then you go on another quest to find out what it is.
Right. And man, you hit it right on the head. 10 years ago, I would have never in a million years guessed that I would be running a radio station. You understand what I'm saying? Hell, I couldn't even see that one 3 years ago. Like when you and I first met, you know, I'm pushing me being a producer and being an artist really hard. You know what I'm saying? And just in a matter of 2 years and some change, man, this whole thing has transitioned into something all the way bigger and totally different than I ever could imagine. You know what I mean? So thanks to people like you for being here along this transition with me. You know what I mean? I appreciate that, man, for real. So my advice, man, you've got to get out there and you've got to really be paying attention to the people that are around you. You know what I mean? The things that they're doing. And you can't be scared to get outside of the little comfortable box that you're used to being in. You know what I mean? So that's what it is, man. And I want to jump into this video from Gary V, man. We're gonna sign off, but before we do, like I said, I want to jump into this video that Gary V put together because I feel like he just perfectly summed up everything that we were just talking about, man. It takes time, man. Rome was not built in a day. You heard me? So that's what it is, man. One thing that I really, really, really want to ask of you guys, at some point in time, we're no longer going to be doing this on Facebook Live. We're going to be pushing it onto the YouTube. That's what we're really trying to grow and go into avenues we've never been in. We're also going to be pushing this on Spotify. So, yo, we just ask that you help us. If you've gotten any value from anything that I've said or from Daniel, yo, just go to our YouTube channel and I'll have the link posted in the comments and just hit us with that subscribe, man. That means everything, man, because YouTube, they got a monopoly on the markets. You know what I mean? You can't really do anything without happening on YouTube. So that's what it is, man.
And also, just as an added bonus for anybody who wants to go over to the YouTube, on the Facebook page, like when this podcast gets done and the file's ready, he'll send that over to me and then I'll chop it into little clips for keywords. So like, say, for example, we'll talk like the impact of Black Panther, or we'll talk about, you know, the evolution of being an entrepreneur, and we might chop it up. Well, we will chop it up into these little keywords or whatever, and we'll just keep these little clips to advertise this episode for next Sunday when it broadcasts. Now, Facebook, I only upload a few on there, but on YouTube, I upload every single clip. So if you're subscribed on YouTube and you want to get an early glimpse of next week's podcast, you're going to get it before anybody else does on Facebook. So hopefully there's a little bit of incentive for you there to go over there right now. We need 500 subscribers because before 500 subscribers, you can't have a custom URL. So it's going to be like XY VL03, all that crap. You know what I mean? So if we give you a link, unless it's interactive, which it can't always be, it's effort for you to go copy and paste that. But what you can do, and I know it's a bit of effort, I wouldn't usually ask people to do it, I'd like to provide the link. But if you just type in "Don't Stress Success" on YouTube, we're going to come up. And this is our 3rd episode right now, Don't Stress Success, already first page on YouTube for that. So type it in YouTube, Don't Stress Success, you're going to find our channel straight away. You're going to see our faces, you're going to know it's us straight away. That's so yeah, please subscribe.
And to everyone who has subscribed, man, love is love, man. We really appreciate that, man.
100%.
So that's what it is. But I want to jump into this because I really feel that people need to hear this. And I think it means a lot coming from Gary V, because what he's talking about is how long he's been doing it. And so we just look at Gary V. We know that he was born into a bit of success, and we just kind of look at it like, well, shit, you've always had it. But you don't pay attention to the work that he has actually put into it. You know what I mean? So I want to jump into this. And, yo, man, hopefully when I saw it, it did a lot for me. So hopefully it will for you as well. Let's get into it.
12 years ago today, I asked somebody on my team to run to Best Buy, pick up a little Canon camera, set it up. I picked 3 bottles of wine, I put them on a table. I filmed it. First time I've ever filmed anything with the purpose of anybody seeing it. Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of Wine Library TV. I am Gary Vaynerchuk, Director of Operations here at Wine Library at winelibrary.com. And it started the process of where we are here today, 12 years later. When I hear people lacking patience or wanting it so fast or not understanding the marathon. I've basically been producing content for the internet for the last 12 years. And I really wish so many of you could understand how quick that's gone and how much longer I have to go, but most of all, realize how much didn't happen in those first several years. How much I needed to persevere and build an audience, how much engaging and replying to people along the way and building relationships and hugging and kissing babies and grinding and believing. And most of all, what's so interesting is I sit here right now outside this airport knowing that 65% of you didn't know who I was 24 months ago, 15 months ago, that my current place of attention is a current phenomenon. It's a 15, 16 month phenomenon that things kind of took a little bit of a hockey stick moment, which means 10 and a half years of grinding and putting out stuff and wanting to share my thoughts on wine, on business, on entrepreneurship, day in and day out, while I worked all the time, building businesses, while this wasn't even my full-time thing. I have so much empathy that you want it. I have so much empathy and want for you to get yours. But Jesus, this doesn't happen overnight. It just doesn't.